Hey, it's Biddy Penny, and I'm here sharing the Mintay Life Stories collection. Now, I'm adding a few things to this. It also am doing the Stamperia die cuts and some flowers and some stamps, and we are going to get into this. So, today I'm making 5 A2 cards with this paper collection, and this is all dedicated to citizens of the world, everyone, every country, everybody. These are dedicated as sympathy cards as we make it through this crazy pandemic. As a card maker, I just couldn't stay silent anymore. I really wanted to address this stage of life that we're all in together. I wanted to address the major loss of life that we've had worldwide, and I just wanted to make a card for everyone. Although it's going to be a digital one, here they are. So I showed you some Spellbinders die sets, and then now I'm taking these stamps and I am going to stamp everything out and do some watercoloring. Sorry for all that background noise. My house is bumping right now. So anyways, I'm going to stamp these out and then I'll watercolor them, and I wanted to incorporate these girls. So these are from Fun Stamper's Journey, these first two girls. They're so beautiful. And then the other two were Picket Fence. I had picked them up in a recent D-Stash haul off Etsy, and I knew these papers were coming to me in the mail, and so I thought they would go really nice. All these girls seem to be, contemplating, and so that's why I chose them too. So I'm just going to show you briefly some of my watercoloring. And then I will fussy cut these girls out and try to pop them in my design. I think I actually ended up only using one today, but it's great. I have the others colored and ready to go. So they'll make it into a card eventually. All right, so this, maybe because I had somewhat of a heavy heart when I sat down to make all of this, I was, really processing everything, and so it was a struggle. It was a struggle for me to really get my juices flowing. Plus, it was a little bit of a struggle because I used these, which are 12 by 12 sized papers for A2 cards. But that's kind of really cool too, because I'm doing things with them that I typically maybe wouldn't do, and it just forces me out of my comfort zone. It forces me to try new things, and so I'm happy to do it. So here I'm just measuring. I see that this is like 6 inches, and I know or 7 inches, that's just too big. So I have to keep editing this down. And I left this in the video because if you guys are working with something that's not scaled to cards, I just kind of wanted to share with you ideas about how I use it. So I'm just showing you how I take this collage and kind of cut it apart into pieces. So I am going to separate the flowers down at the bottom from the camera and the clock and the feathers up at the top. So in there, I'm taking it to my mat again just to measure things up. When I'm working with these papers, I do think they lend themselves more to like a 6x6 card format. Those seem so much easier than an A2. I am going to try some slimline cards with them and see what I can come up with. That's probably the next thing I'll do with my Mintay, with whatever collection I work with next. And again, it just, when you change the size of your cards that you're making, it really does force you to think of things differently. So here I am, I'm laying this out, and I decide, no, that's not going to work. And I brought in some paper, this black paper, and I decide that I want to put this all down on there. Guys, even taping things was hard for me. Like, the struggle was real. And I'm leaving this in here because I think a lot of times we watch card making videos and they make everything look so effortless and easy and just like everything flows every time. But y'all, sometimes it doesn't, right? But never give up. So like, I didn't like this either. And I'm just going to sit there for a second and I'm going to think about it and try to figure out how to save this, right? And I end up bringing in, I'm going to add some more. Let's see, maybe if I add more. And I just layer, that'll make me happy. So I, just playing around here, I decide to add that. Okay. Still not really doing it for me though. So then I think, okay, well, maybe she needs a bow. Maybe this card needs a bow. So then I'm going to bring in some ribbon and I'm going to tie a bow, and that's not going to do it for me either. But hey, I tried. So I'm moving that around. I'm like, no, that's not it. And then I decide to bring in the Spellbinders die. One of the ones I'd shown you at the beginning of the video. And what I love about this is it makes it look like one cohesive piece of artwork rather than a bunch of items glued to a piece of paper, right? It gels. It's so great. I really like that. So I'm going to have to remember that tip for myself. And so it's not bad with paper behind it, but I decided ultimately to leave it just like this. Okay, second card. Guys, it wasn't that much easier. The first two cards were a struggle. Now, I didn't have any sketches. I didn't have any idea what I was doing when I sat down. I just knew what supplies I was going to be working with, and I knew I wanted everything to be A2. Besides that, I had no plans. So it might be good if you had some plans. All right, so this card is very symbolic. I decided on the typewriter because this is kind of my love letter to the world. As a global citizen, which I consider myself, this is my love letter to everyone who's in the struggle, to all the families who have lost loved ones, who have lost income, housing, anything. I mean, everything. So this is kind of my love letter. Also, we lost a family member last week, and I believe she probably passed away of COVID, but we're not sure, and no one's testing it. But she was in a nursing home, and she had been healthy and fine, and then suddenly got sick and passed away. So I just suspect that COVID might have been to blame, but we're not sure. Anyways, so the reason I mentioned that is because she did come to mind as soon as I picked up that cutout sheet and I saw that little post box. She used to have one of those by her door. You guys, even mail used to be easier, right? Like the little metal mailbox that would hold a few envelopes in it. That's all they used to have. Now we have to go to this megaplex mailbox to get our mail. So, yeah, this is the one I'm speaking of. So I had to put this in there for her. Dear Johnny. So that's where that's going. And then, I'm still playing around with flowers, and I'm wanting to fill this card up. So we'll see where it lands. I decide I still need something else for that left side. So I bring in the chipboard ephemera from Stamperia, and I find this awesome bird. That's a cat. Yep. But I find this bird, and bird to me represents spirit. And I know a lot of spirits are changing places, leaving this world. And so I felt like that was perfect. So I'm going to glue everything down. And here I'm just playing with, okay, which color, which side do I want to use? I really like this, but I still went with the green. I guess in the moment I liked the green more. These Spellbinders dies, I got them years ago on a 70% off sale or something. They have those amazing sales on Spellbinders. And they didn't 100% fit in my card making aesthetic, but I felt like they were such good staples, and they are perfect for these papers. I'm telling you guys, they're going to make all the difference. So all the cards I made today were A2. I made some the other day that were 5.5 by 5.5 and a couple A2. And I think next I'm going to try some slimline cards and just change it up. Keep changing it up, because definitely, it just, your perspective, it just shifts your perspective, and I think it builds my card making muscles to change my card size. All right, so I'm doing something classy and removing the glue with my fingers. Whatevs, it's done. And I decide just on one flower. And this one's done. And I think it's lovely. It's so far out of my typical style, but I love it. And it's symbolic. It means a lot. All right, guys, so the first two cards were a struggle, for real. But the next three just flow. So here we go. Card number 3. I have this lovely sheet of paper, and I grab this tag because I'm like, wow, this matches perfectly. But actually, it matches so good, it completely blends in. It's like camouflaged. So then I pick up this window, and I'm like, oh, so lovely. Yes. And guys, this is how easy it is. I bring in this small doily, and I put it behind this chipboard piece, and I'm done. For real. I just have to glue it down. And I think that is the glory of this paper, is that it's so gorgeous that it does all your heavy lifting and card making. For me, though, I can't just glue a piece of paper down and be done, right? There has to be more. So at least I glued 2 things on top of it, and then I'll glue this to a card base. Here's the thing. There are gorgeous cards that people labor over. I mean, they'll spend an hour or 2 making one card. And I have done that, and I love those cards. But guys, you can also just make a gorgeous card in 5 minutes, And if that means that more people in your life are going to get a token of love, isn't that great? So, I have an appreciation for all of it. I have appreciation for this quick card making, and I have appreciation for the masterful coloring and die cutting and scene building and one layer masking, and there's room for all of it. So here, this is a Spellbinders die that I had used, and then I'm gluing this doily in. This card is symbolic too. So I feel like we need like wheelbarrows of flowers. Like if we could just deliver flowers and wheelbarrows right now to all the people who are hurting, I would just love that. So this was very symbolic for me. Now I did play around with maybe a bicycle, but no, it was just buckets of love and buckets of flowers. So easy. I just pop that up on foam tape, and I'll glue this to a card base, and it's done. I know these are so simple, but they're lovely, and that's what matters. Okay, this is card number 4, and I'm just playing around here. I already had this paper cut off to the side, and I had this scrap, so I was just kind of playing around. I wanted to use papers that I already had rather than cutting into more paper, because I knew this was, getting to the end of it here. This is the last card. So I'm playing with all this ephemera. And I had really wanted to use a door. So I'm playing around, and I really like this combination. But the white door was something that had really called to me when I was cutting those pieces apart at the very beginning. So I end up going with it. So I'm taking this door out, and I'm bringing in the white door. And guys, this is symbolic because I really feel like our doors are closed right now. Like, we don't have an open door policy with our family to come and go. And, everything is just, so restricted right now, our movements. But one day the doors will open and family can come and go. We'll resume our family dinners, and I'm so excited about that. And that day will come, but right now is not yet the time. So, I felt like this was very symbolic, and especially with like this sweet little chair and table, which feels so like, like it has solitude to it, which we are still in a very solitary state in a sense. So I felt like that was really fitting to go there. So this is my last card. Thank you so much if you're still here listening to me talk and watching me craft. I'm so glad you are. And if you've been touched by COVID, I send you prayers, and we will get through this. So here are the cards. Just a quick little close-up. I didn't do the insides yet. I will do those later. But I like the way they turned out, even though they gave me such a hard time in the beginning. I think they're really lovely. I love this paper collection, you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, please subscribe, please leave a comment. Those things will help me so much. My channel is still very much trying to get off the ground. All right, have a great day.